The text message illuminates my screen with a piercing intensity, every word a sharp, stinging blade. My hand shakes as I read it once more, wishing that the words could somehow shift into something kinder. We've chosen to have a small and intimate wedding, and we hope you can appreciate our decision. I truly appreciate all that you've done. A tear falls onto my phone, distorting Brooke's name. I brush it aside with my thumb, creating a line on the glass surface. The soft evening light streaming through my Craftsman windows bathes my living room in a warm, golden hue, highlighting the polished hardwood and thoughtfully selected decor. All is arranged as it should be, save for this grotesque thing now searing in my hand. Thank you once more for all that you've done, I murmur, my voice trembling in the stillness. A weight presses against my chest, making it difficult to take a deep breath. The check for the venue deposit, amounting to $25,000, rests in a cream-colored envelope on my coffee table, with Derek and Brooke's dream day elegantly inscribed in my meticulous handwriting on the front. I intend to deliver it tomorrow. I pick up the framed photo next to it, capturing Derek and me at the lake when I was 12 and he was 14. His arm drapes over my shoulders, and we both squint into the sunlight, sharing matching smiles. I hold the frame firmly, recalling the sensation of unwavering trust that we would always safeguard one another. The sudden shatter of glass jolts me awake. A slender line now traverses Derek's face, cleaving his smile in half. 3 weeks ago, I found myself at my parents' polished dining room table, enveloped by the comforting aroma of my mother's pot roast while Derek and Brooke shared their news. We're officially engaged. Derek's voice resonated powerfully as Brooke reached out her hand, a subtle diamond glimmering in the light. My father swiftly uncorked the champagne he had obviously been anticipating. My mother's eyes shimmered with tears. "My sweet little one," she murmured, gently cradling his face in her hands. At last, the glasses were lifted, toasts were offered, and soon enough, the conversation turned to the anticipated wedding plans. "We've been considering Crystal Ridge," Derek remarked nonchalantly, as if he were talking about a drive-through rather than the most prestigious location across 3 counties. "It's precisely what we've always desired." Brooke gazed intently at her plate. However, she confessed softly, "It's beyond our means." Not after Derek has faced a long stretch without opportunities. 2 years without a job. That's what it meant to be caught between opportunities. The room was enveloped in quietude. Disappointment flickered in my mother's eyes, while my father's smile remained taut. And something within me shattered, that long-standing desire to finally gain their validation. I found myself declaring, "I'll cover the entire venue deposit. Think of it as my offering." The astonishment etched on their faces was nearly gratifying. At last, I found myself in the spotlight at our family gathering. For once, Derek was embracing me with genuine warmth instead of the usual awkward, rehearsed gesture I typically got. "You've always been so practical, Harper," my mother remarked, her tone reflecting genuine surprise. "It's refreshing to witness your generosity this time." For once, it felt as though I hadn't been the one juggling 2 jobs throughout college, while Derek celebrated his way to a barely earned degree at our parents' expense. As though I hadn't ascended consistently within my company while Derek flitted from one poorly thought-out venture to another. It feels as though my accomplishments, the promotion I received last year, the house I purchased independently, are mere footnotes, while even Derek's slightest contributions receive thunderous applause. My mother would say he's on a journey of self-discovery whenever anyone brought up his most recent setback. Years ago, I discovered who I truly am. I found myself in solitude. From the very start, the indications were evident. Meetings for wedding planning that I was not included in. Brooke's ambiguous responses when I inquired about my position. Derek deflected my questions every time I sought more information. I found the venue through an Instagram post instead of through a discussion. Yet, I chose to disregard them all. Continued to draft checks. Continued to hold on to hope. A buzz from my phone signals yet another message. "Derek, this time. Your energy doesn't quite align with what we're aiming to achieve. It's not about you. It's not about you." As if leaving out the individual funding your wedding could ever be anything but profoundly, intensely personal. I dial my mother's number, my fingers trembling as I do so. "Harper," she replies, annoyance already tinging her voice. "What is it exactly? Have you heard?" My voice resonates oddly, echoing with a hollow quality. "Did you hear they decided to uninvite me from the wedding?" A deep exhale. "This isn't about you, Harper. It is a day meant just for them. I'm covering the expenses for their special day. Simply release it." My father's voice breaks through from the extension. "You've always had such a keen awareness." They disconnect the call before I have a chance to reply. I make my way to my home office, brushing away tears with the back of my hand. The folder marked wedding expenses occupies a noticeable spot on my desk. I open it, gazing at the contracts, vendor agreements, and receipts, each one marked with my name and signature. The official possessor of each and every plan for a wedding from which I have been uninvited. For the first time since absorbing Brooke's message, a change stirs within me. The pain may linger, yet it shifts just enough to allow space for fresh beginnings. Precision. I possess all the control, and they remain blissfully unaware. The weight of my phone rests heavily in my hand as I sift through the echoes of past text messages. I seek proof that my sanity is intact, that this treachery was not an impulsive act but rather a carefully orchestrated scheme. Here it is, a dialogue from 3 months back. The words of my mother spring to life from the screen. "Derek believes it could be more beneficial for you to stay away. You often steal the spotlight from him." I had dismissed it at the time as just another one of her casual remarks, the sort that strike like a paper cut, seemingly minor yet unexpectedly hurtful. I flick my finger across the screen, my eyes aching from a sleepless night. The wedding website opens with a bright chime that taunts my frayed nerves. Soft pastels envelop Derek in Brooke's engagement photo, his arms securely around her waist, both radiating joy at the camera. I navigate to our narrative and sense my breath hitch. After years of saving and planning our dream wedding, the words become a haze as my vision swirls. Derek and Brooke take great pride in having crafted this special day through their unwavering effort and commitment. There hasn't been any reference to my $25,000 venue deposit. There hasn't been a single acknowledgement of the catering bill I settled last week. It seems their dedication also involves collecting my payments. Instagram strikes again. A collection of images emerges beneath the hashtag Brooke's Bachelorette. There's my mother elegantly lifting a champagne flute at a sophisticated restaurant. Brooke, adorned with a sparkling tiara, is encircled by a group of joyful women I've come to know from family get-togethers. My cousin Melissa, whom I shared lunch with just 2 weeks ago, is featured in several photos, her arms draped around Brooke's shoulders. I had received no invitation, nor even a fleeting mention that it was taking place. I continue to scroll, almost painfully noting each instance of exclusion. A delightful cake tasting at the charming bakery I discovered and suggested. A walkthrough of the venue, with Derek gesturing towards something as my father nods in approval. Every event I invested in, yet I was considered unworthy to participate. My email alerts. A note from Crystal Ridge Events. Ms. Evans. As requested by the groom, we have taken the necessary steps to remove your access credentials from our planning portal. From now on, all communications will be directed to Derek and Brooke Evans. I appreciate your understanding. Alan Martinez. Organizer of events. The request from the groom. I utter the phrases, gauging their significance. A notification pops up. Brooke has inadvertently shared her private wedding Pinterest board with me. I dive right in. There, beneath a photo of bridesmaids in sage green dresses, Brooke's comment pierces through with intensity. "Thank goodness Harper won't be present in one of her power suits, making us look inferior. I've already spoken with Derek to ensure that she won't be invited." Derek's text makes my phone vibrate. Mom and Dad are on the same page, they believe this is the best path forward. My mother comes right after. "Simply send the final payment, and we will take care of the rest." I reach out to my father 3 times. Initial voicemail. This is the second voicemail. Third has been declined. A chime echoes through the air, signaling the arrival of a visitor. Emma is positioned on my porch. A bottle of wine in each hand. Worry marked her expression. You sounded awful on the phone, she remarks, gliding past me. I have arrived with additional support. As I show her the text, the website, the emails, her face hardens. They've been using you your whole life, she says, anger tightening her voice. But this is a new low, even for them. My phone rings. Jackson from legal at work. He states plainly that he has gone over the contracts you sent. You have the legal right to cancel everything. All of it? My voice feels diminutive. Each and every vendor. You hold the contract. Neither Derek, nor Brooke, nor your parents. Me. Emma's gaze locks onto mine. In just 10 days, the wedding will take place, she murmurs softly. 200 guests, I note. If I proceed with this, I'll be cast as the antagonist in our family's narrative for all time. And if you don't, Emma asserts, they'll realize they can seize whatever they desire from me. The understanding weighs heavily within me. It seems my sense of self-worth is quantified at a staggering $25,000. I steady my hand as I dial Crystal Ridge Events. This is Alan Martinez on the line. Meet Harper Evans. I'm reaching out regarding my brother's wedding. A moment of stillness. Indeed, Miss Evans. In what ways can I assist you? I present the situation clearly and straightforwardly. Upon completion, an expansive silence lingers. Apologies for what you've experienced, Alan finally responds, his tone becoming gentler. Family dynamics can often be intricate. It has been 5 years since I last spoke to my brother. What transpired? I inquire before I can hold back. Comparable scenario. I dedicated myself entirely to assisting him in launching his business. When it succeeded, I found myself suddenly deemed unprofessional and excluded. Alan clears his throat, preparing to speak. There are individuals who appreciate solely the contributions you make, rather than recognizing your true essence. His words resonated with an unmistakable clarity of truth. What choices do I have if I need to cancel? I inquire. The agreement specifies a 30% penalty should the contract holder decide to cancel, he clarifies. Which one would you be? This clause had escaped my attention, likely because I never envisioned a scenario where it would be necessary. I prefer to maintain the privacy of our discussion for the time being, I express, sensing a delightful buoyancy fill my heart. Absolutely. The clarity in his voice is undeniable. The dynamics within a family. I understand. Once our call ends, I power up my laptop and start a new document labeled Wedding Contracts. With precision, I catalog each service I've invested in, every agreement under my name, every proof of purchase. The spreadsheet expands, filled with line after line of financial obligations I've undertaken to honor a relationship, all while my own was being neglected. For the first time since absorbing Brooke's message yesterday, I sense something beyond pain, a faint hint of control, of agency. It's not fulfillment, not entirely. As I save the document, I sense it could be the initial move towards something greater. The persistent buzzing of my phone interrupts me for the 4th time today. Her name lights up the screen, the message standing out among the rest. The final payment for the venue is due by tomorrow. Skip the niceties. No recognition of the giant beast stomping through my existence. Simply another request. It feels as though I'm reduced to nothing more than a cash dispenser on 2 legs. Just as I think I can finally put the phone away, it buzzes once more. Derek, this time. Brooke's parents are inquiring about the deposit for catering. Shortly after, I received a message from Brooke asking if I could send her the florist's number. A slight adjustment is required. I gaze at the torrent of expectations, each one bolder than the previous. None of them brings up my exclusion. No one seems to recognize the blade they've driven into my back. Dr. Winters peers over her glasses, scrutinizing me from her desk. The afternoon light glimmers off the silver strands in her hair as she leans in closer. Harper, this pattern has been a constant throughout your life, she says, her tone soft yet resolute. For years, you've been painting a picture of it in our sessions. I nod, my fingers gliding over the smooth leather arm of the chair. What might occur, she inquires, placing her notepad down, if you cease to support their actions? The inquiry lingers in the space between us, straightforward yet profound. They would need to confront the repercussions, I murmur, the phrase feeling strange as it rolls off my tongue, for a change. A transformation occurs within me, a tangible alignment of my spine, shoulders drawing back as if releasing an unseen burden. Dr. Winters observes it as well, a subtle smile gracing her lips. That evening, I finally confront something I've been evading for days. I reach out to my mother with a call, rather than replying to her messages. She picks up on the second ring, a hint of annoyance lacing her voice. Harper, I've been eagerly anticipating your transfer of the final payment. I will hold off on sending any additional funds until we have a conversation about my involvement in the wedding. I declare, my tone more composed than I anticipated. A moment of stillness, then. After all we've sacrificed for you, the all-too-familiar guilt trip, the predictable route of manipulation. Yet this evening, a shift has occurred. Text name one thing, I declare, a hint of challenge lacing my tone, surprising even myself. Can you name something you've done for me that wasn't really for Derek? The ensuing silence is deep, a void where her instinctive defense ought to reside. In that silence, the truth resonates more profoundly than any words she might provide. She disconnects the call without a word. $25,000 for the venue, Emma states, jotting down notes on the legal pad laid out on my kitchen table. $8,000 allocated for catering, $4,000 designated for the band. Her vibrant red curls cascade forward as she leans over the expanding list. Blooms, a lens, a confection, all bearing your name. Across from us, Jackson fiddles with his glasses, meticulously examining the contracts I presented. You are fully entitled to terminate these contracts, he states, pointing to a specific clause in the venue agreement. There is a penalty, naturally, but it is notably lower than the total sum. My boss suggested I take a personal day tomorrow, I mention, as I refill Emma's glass with more wine. She advised me to prioritize my own well-being. Intelligent and perceptive, Emma nods in agreement. By the way, Maria called. She wished to convey that her brother had done the same to her the previous year. You're in good company with this. The awareness envelopes the network of support I've created almost unconsciously. Individuals who appreciate me for my true self, rather than for my contributions. The following morning, I find myself at my desk, phone in hand, an unusual tranquility enveloping me. The sunlight pours into my office, casting a warm glow on the stack of contracts laid out before me. I punch in the initial digits. Hello, you've reached Crystal Ridge Events. This is Alan on the line. Hello, Alan, this is Harper Evans. I speak with clarity and professionalism. I am exercising my right to cancel as the contract holder for the Evans-Mitchell wedding. A moment of silence, followed by clarity. Certainly, Ms. Evans, I will need to get the paperwork ready. A cancellation fee of 30% will apply. I comprehend. Kindly provide written confirmation of the cancellation. Step by step, I progress through the list. Greenfield Catering? I must cancel the services for the Evans-Mitchell wedding. Certainly, I will wait for your manager. Summit Photography, you say? I am reaching out about contract E349. I must cancel right away. Florists in the Garden District? This is Harper Evans. I would like to cancel the order scheduled for May 8th. With every call, a burden eases. Every cancellation confirmation finds its way to my inbox, systematically directed to a folder named Documentation. By midday, it's complete. The wedding that was never intended for my presence has now vanished entirely. That evening, in the solitude of my bedroom, an unforeseen event unfolds. A laugh rises from within, a true and almost unfamiliar sound after days filled with tears and tension. It begins as a whisper, gradually swelling until I'm doubled over, the sheer ridiculousness of it all crashing down on me. I reach for my phone, navigate to a playlist that has gathered dust for months, and press play. The vibrant sounds of Lizzo's Truth Hurts echo through the space, compelling me to sway to the rhythm, gliding effortlessly over the polished hardwood in my socks. I recently completed a DNA test. It appears I fully embody that confidence. I join in, my voice faltering, yet my spirit lifts high. The fall occurs as my knees buckle, my body crumpling onto the edge of the bed while tears stream down without restraint. Yet, these are not tears of sorrow. They bring a sense of liberation, cleansing away years of compromise and regret. Upon waking the following morning, I sense a shift in the air. The clarity and calm I experience are not fleeting visitors but enduring inhabitants. For the first time in years, or maybe even ever, I'm inhaling deeply without the burden of family expectations pressing down on me. A folder has been organized containing all receipts and communications. As I sit across from Jackson at my kitchen table, coffee in hand, I share that we are bracing ourselves for the impending fallout. Emma gives a satisfied nod from the counter as she arranges my laptop. Your email autoresponse for family is set up and ready to go. Concise, authoritative, and completely conclusive. I hit the record button on my phone. Harper Evans, dated May 1, 2025. Overview of occurrences related to the Evans-Mitchell nuptials. My voice resonates with clarity as I meticulously capture every detail, crafting a narrative that even my mother would find indisputable. Later that afternoon, I encounter Alan at the venue. His compassionate gaze suggests he comprehends far more than his words convey. I aim to clarify the situation completely, I say, passing him the final paperwork. He gives a slight nod, carefully placing it into a pristine envelope. No response has been received to any of our calls. They are optimistic that I will reconsider. The understanding is no longer a source of pain. Alan pauses for a moment, then makes his offer. I will personally deliver the cancellation notice. At times, individuals must witness the outcomes of their choices. Just as I step out, my phone buzzes with a notification. A Venmo request from Derek that I had somehow overlooked for months. The memo line states, "Gratitude for supporting our child-free wedding." I capture a screenshot, preserving it as the ultimate piece of proof. The truth has a way of revealing itself, I murmur, slipping my phone into my pocket. As I stroll towards my car, the afternoon sun gently caresses my face with its warmth. For the first time since this began, I stand not as a victim but as a creator, shaping a future where respect is not merely a choice but a necessity. Time flows in an eerie hush. The relentless buzzing of my phone fills the air with notifications, yet I choose to remain unresponsive. Derek, 17 messages received. Mom, there are 23 calls. Dad, 3 brief voicemails. Brooke, a cascade of growingly frantic messages. I set my phone face down on my desk at work and concentrate on the quarterly projection spreadsheet, with numbers arranged in neat, orderly columns. Behind me, through the glass wall of my office, life unfolds with the sound of colleagues laughing. The soft hum of printers fills the air. The art of brewing coffee. Just 2 days left until the wedding that will never take place, and I'm the sole keeper of this secret. Is that you, Harper? My assistant peeks in. A visitor has arrived. Derek rushes by her, his face flushed and hair in disarray. The carefree smile he has honed over years of evading repercussions has vanished. His gaze flits nervously around my office before finally settling on me. What did you do? He demands, his voice rising to a level that draws the attention of those in the open workspace beyond my glass walls. I sit up straight in my chair, my hands clasped on the desk before me. I ceased my financial support for an event where my presence was not appreciated. Derek's palms crash onto my desk, sending papers flying in all directions. You made a promise. At the doorway, 2 of my colleagues make their entrance, Marcus from accounting and Jen from legal. Silence envelopes them as they remain still, arms folded across their chests. In the background, Jackson is on the phone, his voice filled with urgency. Text, I suggest you take your leave, I whisper softly. Not until you resolve this, Derek's voice trembles. The venue, the catering, it's all vanished. Mom is struggling right now. Brooke is in tears and can't seem to stop. Security arrives, two men in uniforms whose mere presence commands attention without the need for physical contact with Derek. Sir, it is imperative that you accompany us. The taller one asserts with conviction. Derek retreats to the door, his finger directed at me. Everything is falling apart because of you. Jealousy has always been a part of you. You've consistently aimed to portray me in a negative light. As they lead him away, his last words resonate through the corridor. You are no longer a part of this family. I breathe out gently, my hands quivering a bit as I adjust the shoulder. We've got your back, she states with assurance. That evening, Emma reveals Brooke's Instagram post to me. A poignant selfie accompanied by the caption, "Picture having a sister so envious that she attempts to undermine your wedding." Family isn't solely defined by blood relations. Countless empathetic remarks have poured in, with distant relatives and high school acquaintances choosing sides without grasping the full story. Emma scrolls through her phone and says, "Your mother called the Robertsons. The Robertsons have been friends with this family for 2 decades. She's spreading the word that you're experiencing a sort of crisis." My phone buzzes with messages from Aunt Judith, Uncle Martin, and even my second cousin Terrell, each one a variation of what's happening and are you alright? Is it too much to ask for just one day of peace? I remain silent. Refill that glass of wine, please. Emma's face lights up as she pivots her phone to reveal a freshly posted photo. Last week, the two of us shared a dinner, our smiles reflecting true happiness. Title: Standing by my friend in the face of family betrayal. At times, the most resilient individuals are those who ultimately declare that they have had enough. Jackson issued a cease and desist letter concerning defamation, she notes. My boss sent a message of support earlier today. Feel free to take as long as you require. Our company fully supports our team. Alan from the venue even reached out to mention that he has been making corrections to the story when approached. I informed them that the contract holder had utilized their legal right to cancel. It's just straightforward, without any emotions or theatrics. On the morning before the wedding day, my phone buzzes with a call from an unknown number. Brooke's progenitor. Harper, this is Bill Henderson reaching out. His voice carries attention. Brooke's guardian. We were completely unaware that you were covering all the expenses. They mentioned that they had been putting money aside. I remained silent. Is there something we can take action on? He inquires at last. I conclude the conversation without providing a response. 60 minutes later, a message from my mother. What will others perceive about us? I'm not sorry. We were not mistaken. But what were people thinking? Next, I hear my father's voice. It was the first time I had heard it in days. Harper, let's discuss this with reason and clarity. A solution that accommodates all perspectives is essential. The final message from Derek comes through. Our decision to leave you out was a mistake. We would be delighted to have you at the wedding. A backup plan has been discovered. Tomorrow at 2, we gather at City Hall. Your presence is essential. Every message feels empty, centered solely on surface-level concerns instead of true regret. I perused each message twice, then placed my phone down without responding. When my colleague inquires about the situation during lunch, I merely respond. I found myself uninvited from an event for which I had already paid. Only the essentials, stripped of any flair or sentiment. That evening, a formal invitation arrives via email, set against a cream-colored background. Elegant prose. Derek Evans and Brooke Henderson warmly invite you to celebrate their union in marriage. Municipal Building, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. When I remain silent, Alan sends a text. Please verify that they are scheduled to use City Hall at 2 p.m. the day after today. The reception for the small ceremony has been cancelled. I respond in writing. Thank you very much. Are you still able to deliver the notice? His reply is prompt. Certainly. As we talked about, I placed my phone aside and gazed out my window at the fading light of the sun. Tomorrow, the truth will emerge, basking in the light it deserves. Not through theatrics or retribution, but with the straightforward, inescapable gravity of outcomes ultimately reaching those who truly deserve them. The steps of City Hall are icy beneath my practical heels. I observe from the other side of the street, taking in the bewildered guests as they make their way inside. Many sport expressions that reflect their quickly thrown together ensembles, confused, a bit disheveled, and inquisitive. A text message wedding isn't quite what they had imagined when they marked their calendars for Derek and Brooke's dream celebration at Crystal Ridge. I glance at my watch. 1:57 p.m. Just 3 minutes remain before the ceremony begins. 3 minutes until I step into a room filled with individuals unaware that I am the catalyst for their assembly in this austere government building rather than the sophisticated venue boasting breathtaking mountain vistas that I had chosen and financed. The recollection of Derek's message sears into my thoughts. Your energy doesn't quite align with what we're aiming for. This isn't about you personally. A businessman hurries by, casting a curious glance my way, and I suddenly become aware that I've spoken the words softly, the bitterness seeping through my carefully maintained facade. I adjust my charcoal gray dress, a symbol of elegance, intentionally understated. Nothing that could be seen is overshadowing the bride. Within the confines of the space, the tableau unfolds precisely as Alan portrayed it. A solitary, mournful arrangement of convenient store blooms graces the podium of the piece's justice. A collection of metal folding chairs has been set up in haphazard rows. My parents are positioned at the front, with Mother persistently adjusting her silk blouse, as if the right amount of fabric tension could somehow bring back a sense of control to the chaos unfolding around us. Derek and Brooke linger by the window, their gazes flickering toward the door with each creak of its hinges. The tension emanating from them is nearly tangible, reminiscent of heat waves shimmering above sun-baked pavement in the height of summer. I enter softly, offering a courteous nod to a few distant relatives who acknowledge my presence. The shared sigh from my family resonates clearly, reaching me even in the back row where I position myself, hands resting neatly in my lap. Their relief is palpable, as they believe the storm has passed. Harper has finally seen the light. Mother hurriedly approaches, the sound of her pearls clinking together echoing her urgency. "Thank goodness you finally see things clearly," she whispers, the precise words I had expected. Her hand clutches my shoulder with an intensity that feels excessive, as if she fears I might suddenly flee. "We're family," I state plainly, the words echoing emptily like a lifeless trunk. Derek leans in, his breath warm against my ear. "We can discuss the rent later," he whispers, his gaze avoiding mine. I find myself questioning whether this is his attempt at an apology or just a strategy to mitigate financial repercussions. Brooke glides in, extending an air kiss close to my cheek, taking care to avoid any real contact. "I'm so pleased you could join us," she remarks, her smile peculiar, teetering on the edge. There was no recognition of my exclusion, nor any sincere regret. I merely nod. None of them realize that I haven't truly acknowledged their half-hearted apologies or committed to forgiving them. They perceive only what aligns with their expectations, compliant Harper. Dependable Harper, the one who stays composed. The justice of the peace clears his throat, signaling the moment for everyone to take their seats. The ceremony commences with all the charm of a tax audit. Derek shifts uneasily from foot to foot, while Brooke grips her bodega bouquet with such intensity that several petals drift down to the floor. They offer formal promises of loyalty and affection, phrases that feel especially ironic in light of what has transpired recently. As the ring exchange unfolds, the heavy oak door lets out a creaking sound, interrupting the moment. Alan strides in, his impeccably fitted suit and self-assured demeanor capturing everyone's attention. He holds a cream-colored envelope, a mirror image of the one that rested on my coffee table merely days prior, the very one that housed a $25,000 check and all my naive aspirations of familial ties. My heart races within my chest as he strides confidently to the middle of the room. "I appreciate your understanding regarding the interruption," Alan states, his tone articulate and polished. Greetings, I'm Alan representing Crystal Ridge Events. Instantly, the atmosphere in the room is filled with uncertainty. Visitors share knowing looks. Brooke's father partially stands from his chair. This serves as your formal notification regarding the breach of contract. Alan proceeds to open the envelope, extracting a number of documents that bear an official appearance. He passes copies to both Derek and Brooke, their faces now devoid of any color. The cancellation penalties are detailed in your agreement. An immediate payment of $8,000 is required to prevent any additional legal proceedings. He takes a moment, then remarks sharply, "You ought to have shown more respect to your sponsors." The stillness that ensues resembles the instant after glass, shattered yet suspended, perilous, and unchangeable. Brooke's mother is the one who breaks the silence first. What is he referring to? Which sponsors are we talking about? My mother advances, her hands dancing in the air. A misunderstanding has occurred. Who was footing the bill for this wedding? Brooke's father insists, his voice slicing through the rising whispers. For the first time since stepping into City Hall, I rise to my feet. All eyes are on me, and a strange sense of tranquility washes over me, as if I've distanced myself to observe this moment from afar. I assert with clarity, until I received a text message that uninvited me. Silence envelopes the room. The sound of the ancient wall clock resonates, each tick stretching seconds into what feels like endless eternities. I did not bring ruin to your wedding, I assert, my tone unwavering. I have decided to cease supporting your deception. Derek's expression shifts through a whirlwind of emotions, shock, anger, embarrassment, and ultimately, a creeping horror as he grasps the reality of the situation. Mother remains motionless, her meticulously built facade disintegrating before our eyes. Father gazes down at his shoes. The judge, clearly keen to wrap up this uncomfortable scenario, quickly declares them married. Silence reigns, with only the sound of hesitant footsteps and the faint crinkle of fabric as attendees slip away, avoiding the lingering moments of discomfort. A group of cousins and an uncle draws near, their faces reflecting a blend of fresh admiration and persistent bewilderment. Aunt Meredith murmurs, "We ought to have a conversation soon," with an unexpected tenderness. I choose to turn down several invitations to elaborate on matters and set things straight. Everything has been made clear. The truth has at last accomplished what I could never achieve, it has spoken for itself. Stepping into the warm embrace of the afternoon sun, I sense the burdens of many years beginning to fade away. Some individuals craft narratives to resonate with others. I let the repercussions of their choices resonate loudly. Wind chimes sway in the soft May breeze, their harmonious sounds flowing through my backyard garden. Half a year has gone by since that moment at City Hall. Half a year dedicated to restoration, to flourishing, to nurturing what is truly important. You truly surpassed yourself with these hydrangeas, Emma remarks, lifting her wine glass in the direction of the blue-purple flowers gathered along my garden path. They are flourishing. I ease into the Adirondack chair next to her, observing as Jackson and Maria meticulously arrange platters of food on the patio table. The three individuals who stood by my side during the most crucial moments now come together each week in this space we've built, a chosen family. I've finally uploaded the photos from my solo trip. I exclaim, retrieving my phone and browsing through pictures of the enchanting mist-covered Scottish Highlands and charming stone cottages. For 2 weeks, I immersed myself in the joys of hiking, lost myself in books, and embraced the freedom to choose my daily adventures. Emma scrolls through the images, stopping at one where I stand on a windswept cliff, arms wide open, face turned toward the sun. She notes your sense of freedom. My counselor mentioned that I'm showing positive development. I acknowledge that focusing on my peace isn't an act of selfishness, it's essential. Jackson arrives, placing a tray of lemonade glasses that jingle with ice on the table. In terms of advancement, I finally informed my brother that I will not be funding his third venture attempt. His voice exudes a calm assurance that mirrors the confidence I have been nurturing. Utilize the script you provided from your therapist. We lift our glasses for an unplanned toast. To selecting your own family, Maria says, her smile bright and warm, and to Harper, who demonstrated it all perfectly. As we dine, the dialogue evolves, yet I can't help but ponder the different journeys my biological family has embarked upon. The marriage between Derek and Brooke is facing challenges, which is hardly unexpected considering its shaky foundation. My mother has reached out 3 times, each message meticulously sidestepping any recognition of her part in the events that unfolded. Just reaching out to see if you've moved past it yet, as if betrayal were something as simple as a cold to shake off. I was taken aback by the letter from my father that came in yesterday's mail. 12 pages filled with heartfelt thoughts and, surprisingly, a straightforward apology. I've gone through it twice, but I'm still uncertain about how to reply. Certain bridges may deserve the effort to be restored. Some may need to stay crossed. A message from my cousin Elaine lights up my phone, as she organizes the details for my wedding next spring. May we have a conversation? I would appreciate your insights on steering clear of family conflicts. After a brief pause for reflection, I'm ready to engage in a discussion about healthy boundaries. Shall we grab a coffee next week? Half a year ago, I would have been requested to provide a check. Today, I find myself in demand for my insights. The distinction feels substantial. Maria studies my face and remarks, "You seem lighter. More relaxed." She is correct. The persistent tension nestled between my shoulder blades has eased. My supervisor acknowledged it as well during the announcement of my promotion last month. Your self-assurance has elevated your craft. I've chosen to create a small fund for the local women's shelter rather than support someone else's aspirations. The director's eyes grew wide as I detailed that it was aimed at women reconstructing their lives following family betrayal. She shared with me that many choose to stay because the thought of facing life on their own feels unimaginable. Your narrative opens their eyes to new horizons. As dusk settles in, I take hold of my watering can and head over to the freshly planted area of the garden. Where lifeless timber and entwined tendrils once reigned, vibrant green sprouts now stretch towards the heavens. I approach my tasks with care, fostering what is beneficial and worthy of development. At times, I find myself speaking to the quiet around me as the sun dips below the horizon, casting a golden glow everywhere. The wisest choice you can make is to cease nurturing connections that harm you. From my open windows, the sound of laughter flows into the air, emanating from my kitchen where my friends, my true family, are busy crafting dessert. I lean into that warmth, a serene smile forming on my lips as effortlessly as inhaling. The garden shall arrive on the morrow. This evening is dedicated to honoring the journey of our collective growth.